Sydney, Australia's most populous city. A global hub for trade, culture and tourism, it's a 24-hour, forward-thinking metropolis. Yet in the city's western suburbs, home to large communities of Indigenous Australians, one man is on a mission to preserve what may be the oldest sport on earth.
So Coreeda is the revival of what we think is a 30,000-year-old sporting tradition, custom in Australia. The reason we think it's 30,000 years old is because archaeological evidence tells us that based on cave art from Western New South Wales. It's been dated at approximately that age. So we believe we are reviving the world's oldest sport.
The word Coreeda means kangaroo hunt in the language of the Nyampa people of Western New South Wales. Ochre depictions of Aboriginal ceremonies at the Mount Grenfell site in this region have been cited as evidence of ancient dance and combat traditions. Gavin Dixon, founder of the Coreeda Association of Australia, is the martial arts leading authority.
When I asked elders where did this wrestling come from, and they told me the story, there was war, there was continual warfare in society. Young men were being killed and other young men were being killed in reprisal. The men were animals as well. They weren't just animals and men as we know it today. There was animal men. They had animal characteristics. And there was one guy named Birion. He was a lizard. A shingleback is the species of a type of skink that lives in the deserts of outback New South Wales. He'd lost so many of his loved family through these reprisal killings. And the way he saw it was never ending. According to the story, he tried to find a solution. He sat by this water hole and he sat chanting. And he chanted for a long time. In the process of chanting, a giant snake appeared out of this water hole. And the snake was so huge, I was told that it could have just eaten him whole. The lizard man, Birion, was frightened. He didn't say anything, he just stared. But the snake didn't eat him, but it sent the message to him and said, "Watch the kangaroos." And then the snake vanished. So he did as he was instructed. He went and followed a mob of kangaroos. So he saw them bounding, he saw them eating, he saw them running away from dingoes. But he also saw some big bucks, two males come to blows. He saw them fighting. Then one of the bucks threw the other buck down. He won, and the loser hopped away. And then it dawned on him. The aim of the kangaroo combat was not death. They weren't trying to kill each other. They were merely trying to show dominance. And he took this concept back to his tribe. And this is how wrestling started in Australia. So this is the origin of Coreeda.
Coreeda in its modern incarnation comprises two distinct components, Coreeda dance and Coreeda combat. Coreeda dance begins with the wrestlers maintaining constant motion inside the circle, touching the ground with only their hands or feet. The second and third segments of the dance component bear comparison to Brazilian capoeira and Japanese sumo, as the wrestlers attempt sweeps and trips while remaining in constant motion, before finally trying to push each other out of the circle or to the floor. Athletic prowess is demonstrated by mimicking the red kangaroo.
We think that this was probably common practice in the pre-colonial period of Australia, that the young boys were encouraged to imitate animals as part of the display. So the sacred animal for us is the red kangaroo. Because the red kangaroo is significant to the storyline for Coreeda, we imitate the animal. Biomimicry is integral to Aboriginal cultural expression. So not just in Coreeda, but generally across the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Coreeda combat is divided into 4 quarters, each 2 minutes long. The winner of the dance chooses who will defend and begin combat on the inside of the sun circle. Their opponent, the attacker, begins on the outside and attempts to force the defender out. If the defender can hold the attacker inside the circle for 20 seconds, they win. If they're forced out, they lose. The mat itself is a depiction of the Aboriginal flag, with the fighters representing either the black or red half.
We are the only sporting organisation that proudly acknowledges the pre-colonial heritage of its origins. Every other sport in Australia, and that includes things like Aussie rules football, claim either a foreign origin or a colonial origin. We are proudly boasting of our connection with traditional culture. This sport was brought about with the direct involvement of Aboriginal community. We have the complete permission of elders to do this and the complete support.
The sport's leading light is the Aboriginal wrestler Shane Parker. An MMA fighter by trade, Shane's first love is Coreeda, and the hope is that the sport can capitalise on his growing success and celebrity to boost its own popularity.
I met Shane when he was a 10-year-old boy. He probably won't like me saying this, but he was feral. he was wild. But I saw in that kid what you call an uncut, a rough diamond. Yeah, he was a brilliant athlete. He just needed some guidance, some kindness. The upbringing that he had was not particularly kind. No good role models that he could follow. And by rights, he should have gone down a different path altogether. And by involving him in this activity, it's brought about a sense of pride, a sense of awareness of his cultural heritage and his responsibility, not his rights, but his responsibility to contribute to that movement. It's changed him.
Today, Shane is a bantamweight MMA fighter and professional lifeguard. He openly talks of his past as a rough kid who used to run amok where he grew up, vandalising property and throwing eggs at people's houses. Much stemmed from a troubled upbringing at home in Sydney's Mount Druitt suburb.
I was like a dysfunctional family, just father always beating me mum, and the only way I could see to get out of that life was wrestling and Coreeda. It gives us a new opening, good, new look of life, knowing that there's other things out there besides violence and that.
With the help that Gavin and Coreeda gave him, Shane became the first Indigenous wrestler to represent Australia at the Commonwealth Games, which he did 4 years ago in Delhi. Competing in the 55-kilo Greco-Roman category, a medal eluded him, but the course was set for a professional fighting career.
What I'm doing now, I'm just trying to open up the Coreeda world to the MMA, so I'm trying to get them to come over, and also vice versa with the MMA to Coreeda. Every time I fight, I tell them, I'm the Coreeda expert, and people are like, wow, what's that?
Back at the Merrylands Youth Club outside Sydney, the reality is that Coreeda is fighting for its future as a sport. Gavin regularly runs classes and demonstrations encouraging children and members of regional communities to take up the sport for its health, enjoyment and cultural qualities. But where comparable forms around the world, such as Icelandic glima, Turkish oi, Cornish and Korean wrestling, are acknowledged by sports councils and receive varying degrees of backing, Coreeda struggles to attract any such recognition.
I would love to tell you, and I'd love to say that this is an immensely important sport, but the truth of the matter is the majority of Australians do not find any significance in it whatsoever. And I think that says a lot about our country. But an activity that has been part of the cultural heritage, the cultural landscape of this country for more than 30 millennia, can't get a cent of funding. I think that really says a lot about our country in general.
If there was backing, I could probably do Coreeda full time, but that's why I'm switching over to MMA. I feel very passionate. That's why I'm trying to get out there with their MMA. MMA is like massive now. It's all over the world, and if I can pass on Coreeda through that, then that's what I'm going to use. Lifting the profile for myself in the Coreeda world, letting everyone know, we've got our own sport. That's unique. Come give it a go.
Thanks to people like Gavin and Shane, Coreeda's short-term future is in safe hands. But for what may be the oldest sport on earth, the long-term outlook is far from secure.